A man falsely accused of murder and nearly killed by a vigilante posse is given the chance to track down his persecutors under color of law in the 1968 Western, Hang 'em High. And that's the movie we're dusting off this week on Movie Bones.
You're free to go, Cooper.
$11.40.
And a satisfaction to seeing the man who got you into this mess, huh?
What about the 9 just men who hung me?
Just give their description to one of the deputies downstairs. They'll try to pick them up.
Well, that's not good enough.
You were a lawman in St. Louis. Damn good one. I can use a good man, Cooper. Pay $250 a month.
Seems like you're a man trying to give away money and don't have too many takers.
You sound like a man who's protesting the pay's too high. Don't. You sign on, you'll earn every cent of it. Pick up the badge or leave justice to me and my men. Those 9 men. If you find them, they're to be brought before me. Alive.
I think one of the differences between this movie and like the last one is there's so much more nuance, I think, in this one than there is in the last one. Don't you agree? I think that's, for me, that's one of the big things that separates it.
Both of these movies, I felt like they did of course, I like The Big Country.
You like The Big Country.
Yeah. But what I thought they both did was they subverted this idea of what a Western is, where in a Western, you have like the valiant hero who saves the day. Yes, those things do kind of happen in both movies. But at the same time, they also kind of push back a little bit on your more classic Westerns.
Yes, they do.
This movie absolutely pushes back on what a Western is.
Even more so than the last one, and more consistent. I should say more consistently so. Whereas I saw in The Big Country, it's like, I would say bucking a trend rather than subverting the genre. And Big Country did try to buck the trend of having your hero be someone who's, more invested in like the direct confrontation of evil, whereas this one actually takes the genre and, like you said, it inverts it. It actually gets you questioning the system of justice. And it has a lot of really interesting things to say about it that way, too. It leaves you asking questions like there's the judge character, Pat Hingle, who is he's an underrated kind of character actor who appears in a lot of different films over the decades. I think I even saw him in Tim Burton's Batman. I think he was in Tim Burton's. Yeah, as like, was he?
He was Commissioner Gordon.
Yes, he was Commissioner Gordon in the Tim Burton Batman. He's been in a number of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the Oklahoma Territory, which is not a state yet. He's trying to get it to be a state. His goals, but the means with which he goes about them oftentimes, leaves questionable results. And it leaves Clint Eastwood's character in kind of a tough spot. It's like he's the victim of one of these injustices from the get-go. And he's out to get revenge. And that's the way he starts. And then he starts to see the moral complexity of his vengeance in a larger world. And he starts to see like the cost of it. But the judge kind of is like, you start to see the judge more clearly for like what he's willing to subvert himself for the goal, which is a smaller G good, I would say, of statehood versus like what the means are to get there. Do the ends justify the means? And the movie is trying to put that front and center. I like that it's posing that question front and center.
Even where the movie starts off at, like most of the guys that begin this movie by hanging him, and all they're doing is they're just trying to help out someone they were someone that they're a fan of, someone who is also, we learn a little bit later on, is totally dead. Like him and his wife had been killed. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to do that now. What they do wrong, and I like what you said at the beginning of your notes, what they do wrong is, can't they at least suspect that the guy who sold the cattle to him is the actual suspect? And then they ask, like, oh, how do you know that? He's like, I'm a lawman. Like, he's already established multiple times he's a lawman, or he's a
Yeah.
former lawman who's gotten out of this. And they don't even attempt to go, you know what, maybe we had a point. That is where they fully mess up.
That is a detail that I think actually plays to the film's favor, and it's kind of denouncing vigilante justice that way. It's like, because
Yeah.
vigilantes are not careful. It's like where you and I are sitting watching this, is like vigilantes usually are responding to emotion more than justice. And I also like the fact that the group of them together are not monolithically in lockstep about what
Yeah.
their thought process is and what their morality is. And you get to see that sometimes in some very just like one line of dialogue from a character from one of them who's like a third or fourth tier character later on adds to the layering of that message. It goes to show you also about how it's like, you can actually flesh out, say so much you need about any of these characters, any character in a movie actually. The right time and the right place for one or two lines of dialogue and the character pulling it off is all you need to add a layer of depth. Sometimes you just don't need like another 20 minutes of story. You just need something like what we got in this movie. The bad guys are figuring out what to do with Clint Eastwood's character because he's, well, obviously the only thing left. The only one of the problems we didn't clean up here is the fact that we didn't finish the job. The original problem was we shouldn't have done it, but now that we did it, the problem is we should have gone and made sure it was done all the way. And the others don't agree with him. There's like two that stick with the guy, but the others kind of just go their own way. And here's the thing. It's like, this is where I get on the judge, because this is the dark side of what the judge is after, is that the judge is willing to sacrifice all sense of proportionality for the sake of him getting that statehood, which is in his mind is cracking down on everybody the same way. There's a great scene with the hanging, and we get to know a little bit about them. There's the one guy who did something while he was drunk. I'm not sure what it was. Do you know what that was? He gives a long speech at the hanging. You remember that?
I think, that was the one that is sexually inappropriate with a female.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, that's a hanging offense too, apparently.
Yeah.
It is, and rustling cattle, which does not take a human life, is also a hangable offense, which gives you the impression that this judge is so hot on killing people that he's expanded the definition of what is worthy of a capital crime to pretty much anything. Is like, it almost reminds me of that old was it that Far Side cartoon? Is like where it's like horse remedies. The cowboys looking at the horse, things to help patch up your horse, and every ailment that your horse has, it's like shoot the horse, shoot the horse. Shoot the horse, shoot him in the head. It's like, and that's what it feels like. It feels like it's like, but that's what makes the movie kind of a critique on like this idea of justice as being so, hard edged, that in order to have order, you have to be disproportionately vengeful or harsh on things. But that's justice. And Clint Eastwood starts to see it's like, maybe I've been wrong about this vengeful thing, and maybe I kind of gotta, maybe I'm not so comfortable with all this, and you see that when in that mass hanging, which in other words, he has to feel like he's got to get out. It's this conscience that's starting to bug him, about being part of all this. I really appreciated that. And yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I have, there's a follow up on that, but I wanted to see what you thought.
No, I agree with you. So I want to hear your follow up.
Yeah, the follow up is like, I wish, because to me, all those things that with Clint Eastwood's character experiencing all these things and experiencing the reaction to like the judge's actions and the culture he's starting to realize is around him, is that there's kind of these signposts, where you want your audience to start to lead to. And in my mind, I'm thinking like it's starting to lead to the point where I'm getting the idea that Clint Eastwood's character is going to have to make a decision that's going to sever him from this relationship to do something else. He's going to have to find a better place because this is not tenable. And the film kind of doesn't do that. That's the one critique I have at the end. And unfortunately, it comes at the culmination of everything. It looks like he's ready to leave that behind and leave his badge behind, and he doesn't. And I see what they were trying to do there, but I thought it was the last test that he was going to have to pass. And oddly enough, for the signposts, I felt like he chose not to pass the test.
And it's what you're talking about right now with Clint Eastwood's character, what the film does is it makes you wait until the final moments to give you that answer. Like it does. It actually makes you wait. It does not give you the answer all the way through. Although this is where I'd probably just disagree with you slightly on this. Although it's hinted that throughout the whole entire film, his feelings about the judgments he dispenses, and you see it because he dispenses these judgments, he does not shy away from them. And when I say he does not shy away from them, I am saying he watches every single hanging that happens. He watches it from the window of his office. Every single time you watch it in the movie, he is not happy. He does not relish in it.
No.
In fact, he oftentimes he looks kind of defeated. He looks kind of sad, and he's always like saying like a silent prayer for those people that he has put to the rope.
It does remind me. It does remind me a little bit, and I'm going to make a bit of a stretch to another property entirely, but Watchmen. You've seen Watchmen, right?
Yeah, I've seen Watchmen. It's been a
Yeah.
little bit, but I've seen Watchmen.
You know about the ending, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's all you need to know. But it has to do with the ending. It's like you have the one character, Ozymandias, basically. It was, very, he's like super uber smart. He's like the smartest guy in the world. He can anticipate, even catch a bullet with his mouth. Even it's like he's that perfect Mr. Incredible Pants. On that kind of level, he's the one orchestrating this kind of global disaster so that it takes everyone's mind off of the looming threat of nuclear annihilation between the superpowers, so that they would diffuse their tensions on this imaginary threat. And he knows that in doing this, he's going to kill millions of people to save, as he says, billions. And he's tried to make himself feel every single death that he's about to cause. And it's like, it's that cold kind of calculus. I see a through line here. You're justifying your kind of ruthlessness here, so for some imagined greater goal. And there's a lot of people who do like that sensibility. So I see where that appeal comes into, because you feel like there's this easy answer here that if you just get ruthless enough, the end result is that things will get better. But as you can tell with his character, he's never really found peace. Both their characters are left, the audience is left wondering, yeah, but you're really not at peace. This is not what I would call an actual solution to the problem.
One of my favorite parts of the movie is like when we finally get that answer from him. And what is the answer? The answer is there is nobody else. He makes it clear that the reason why he's doing this is because they're not a state yet. They're a territory. The law is literally him and the people he appoints to enact the law. And if he's not hard on this, then, they'll be run over. They'll never be a state. It goes into,
this is philosophical.
If I don't do this, then this is all going to blow up. He somewhat convinces Clint Eastwood's Jed character in that.
Yes.
This is what this is why I do what I do. He's not bloodthirsty. It's not that he wants to do it. He just has no choice. He has to do it at this present time. And if he doesn't do it, then everything's like, things will get worse. And I think that's why he's willing to, like at the end of the movie, he's willing to, okay, I'm going to keep going that, which kind of solidifies his character. I'm talking about Clint Eastwood's character. He kind of solidifies himself into that the world is not black and white, it is gray, and I will just play the role of a gray character.
But I think sometimes, and here's the thing philosophically, is like there are people like that can get, like, like you said, if not me, then who? It's like there's no trust, that it's like you only trust yourself. And at that point, it's like you don't trust that there are other forces in the world. Like Gandalf said, there are other forces in the world that are good. You just can't see them all the time. But there is good in people. There's a natural desire for good. I mean, I think that if you tend to be of the pessimistic sort, then you can fall, and you can easily start to burden yourself with the idea that you are the one who must stand up and take action. And it's like, and so I did wish that it's like, if they're going to go for that angle, focus on the aspect of, what does it mean to take a human life? And they do to a certain degree, but then they kind of include all these other people that make you wonder, is like, is this actually going to produce the results? Yes, obviously Oklahoma becomes a state. It's using the Oklahoma as a what if scenario. It's like, because it was a lawless territory for a long time. All the other territories around it became states before it did. pretty much. And so it was like the last holdout for like all these kind of nefarious people. So it's fertile ground for that. I'm not saying it's not fertile ground. It's a great test case. I was left a little unsatisfied by, the ambiguity in one sense. Is that I wish that at least Clint Eastwood's character had come down on it a little differently. That's my own personal opinion on that. I think for me, it would have been a higher rated film slightly. And I'm still going to give it its props. It's going to get on the higher end of things for me. But that's what I was feeling. It just kind of felt like a letdown in that respect. There was a lot of nuance here, and I just felt I wanted that a little bit, not like a super clear cut ending, but I wanted something that at least left a little bit more clarity than when he started in the right direction instead
Yeah.
of just like I'm just going to go along with it.
Yeah, I could maybe say that, more of a resolution with his character would have been nice. At the same time, like, I kind of also, like, I agree, like, okay, I see what you're doing
Yeah,
with it.
and,
I don't think I
and
needed more time with other characters. It just,
it's got a lot of virtues in the like I said, its biggest virtue is that it makes you think a lot about a lot of things in bigger ways. And maybe if I go back and revisit it after this conversation, and and I will go back and revisit it at some point, is that I'll go in knowing that it's like maybe there is that possibility that I missed something that the director is going after in terms of setting a more kind of dour, cast a more like nuanced pallor over the whole endeavor. It's not necessarily that he's endorsing the view of the judge so much as to say that that's the way that people tend to go, that the law will end up being brutal in these circumstances, and without making an actual commentary on it, right or wrong, it just leaves you up to your own devices to say. He's just saying this is the way it is. And seeing it with those goggles on, I liked it. I like a lot about it. I could just say I'm going to give it a trust me. Probably at this point, this is just a trust me. It's a thinking Western,
I
and I
know.
like that about it.
That's what I love.
So
And that's, for me, obviously, I haven't said it yet. It's Fortune and Glory for me for all those reasons.
yeah, we're not far apart. We're not really that far
Yeah.
apart.
And I gotta say, got props to Clint Eastwood for having, like, just a bunch of good Western movies that I've seen so far.
Oh yeah. I mean, my favorite is still Good, Bad, and the Ugly of his so far.
Yeah.
Of all the movies I've seen him in, and one that's not going to be on this film review podcast because it comes later, much later, is Unforgiven, which is also a really awesome one that kind of undermines westerns, in my opinion, even more artful ways than this movie did. But anyway, yeah. So at this time, we'd like to remind our listeners out there that if you're having a good time with Ryan and me dusting off these old movies in search of celluloid treasure, please do like and subscribe and comment. And of course, follow us in your podcast purveyor of choice. Tell us what you think we got wrong and clue us in on a few titles you'd like us to see cover on future episodes. As long as they are available for free on Tubi or other free streaming platforms, because this adventure comes, as always, with no strings attached. And on the subject of future episodes, Ryan, next week is one of my favorite Audrey Hepburn films, and I think you're going to give it Fortune and Glory. I know it already, but so spoiler alert, folks, is like it's an Audrey Hepburn film,
Yeah.
and Ryan's going to give it Fortune and Glory. So just warning you in advance.
So
So there you go.
So here's what next week's movie's about. Next week's movie, this is what Tubi says. The daughter of an art forger teams up with a burglar to steal one of her father's forgeries and protect a secret. While it's not giving you this part, hilarity ensues. Hilarity
Yes.
really begins with the beginning of the movie, but hilarity ensues from that point forward. This movie stars Audrey Hepburn, Peter O'Toole, Eli Wallach, I think I said his name correct, Hugh Griffith,
Yes.
and this is also directed by William Wyler. Next
Yes.
week's movie is How to Steal a Million.
Yes, and it's the second movie I've seen with Eli Wallach in it, and we've watched him in another one. Yeah, I know you know what it is, right? We just mentioned it a little bit while ago.
Is it? Why am I blanking? What is it?
You're gonna kick yourself if I
Yes.
tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's he was the ugly.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, he was, because I actually looked him up when I was watching the movie. Yes, exactly. He does a
And very different role. Yeah.
he does a bang up job in this movie.
He's a pretty versatile actor. I had no clue about him, but apart from the good, bad, and the ugly. Anyway, that's about all the time we got this week, folks. So until next week, please do join us for How to Steal a Million, and I'll see you next week. And Ryan, I'll see you next week.
See you next week, folks.
All right, folks. Bye-bye.
I just want to say that I don't hold you to blame for what that's worth.
It's worse, something.